stated purpose is to regulate and supervise the offering and provision of consumer financial products or services under the federal consumer financial laws. However, prior to its inception, when it was still but an idea of one Harvard academic, the proposed Bureau was already compared to an existing agency known as the Consumer Product Safety Commission, or the CPSC. As the original architect of the Bureau, Elizabeth Warren stated, "Just as the Consumer Product Safety Commission protects buyers of goods and supports a competitive market, we need the same for consumers of financial products, a new regulatory regime, and even a new regulatory body to protect consumers who use credit cards, home mortgages, car loans, and a host of other products." However, the vision proposed was for an agency very different than the CPSC. While the CPSC has 3 commissioners, the Bureau has a single director structure. And while the CPSC is subject to the congressional appropriations process and the OMB budget process, which our witness today is very familiar with, the Bureau is not. In the end, this single director can disregard advice and manage as he or she wishes. He has or she has little accountability to the administration and even less to Congress. His or her budget is secure. As a result, it should come as no surprise that the Bureau has operated with less transparency and less concern for fiscal discipline than is appropriate for a steward of taxpayer funds. The Bureau need not listen to basic advice from the Office of Management and Budget. For example, on May 31st of this year, OMB issued a controller alert related to conference spending by agencies over which the OMB has jurisdiction. Given the waste and abuse at GSA and IRS conferences, this was the least we could hope for. However, based on Dodd-Frank, the Bureau can simply ignore this controller alert. As a result of this lack of accountability, certain expenditures have been called into question, such as the $55 million that has been set aside for renovating the CFPB headquarters building just steps from the White House. Incidentally, that number, $55 million, is more than the entire annual construction and acquisition budget for GSA, for the totality of federal buildings. The Bureau has also refused to participate in the Office of Personnel Management's Employee Viewpoint Survey, despite its auditor's specific recommendations that the Bureau join the OPM survey, which 98% of executive agencies participate in. The Bureau has instead decided to do its own. By taking this action, the Bureau avoided being ranked alongside the other 98% of federal agencies that do participate. Nonetheless, the Bureau's in-house employee survey revealed significant concerns regarding the management of the Bureau's staff. The survey provided that only 35.6% of employees agree that the Bureau takes steps to, quote, deal with a poor performer who cannot or will not improve, end quote. So only 1/3 of the staff of the Bureau believe that the Bureau's staff is providing real employee accountability. That is a major concern. Furthermore, the Bureau claims that it invests in world-class training for its employees. However, its own survey says that only 38.8% of employees agree that the training they received was sufficient. That sounds like anything but world-class. Last week, a news story reported that the Bureau is losing senior staff faster than it can replace them. The report goes on to say the Bureau imposed management techniques which put an emphasis on ensuring all employees were considered equal stakeholders. A former Bureau official expressed concern that, quote, while it's good policy to get some people with no exposure, you don't want them to drive policy decisions because they don't understand the risk or cost involved. So thus, those with little training and experience are seated alongside those with greater training and experience and considered equals. These weaknesses may reflect broader management problems. Last week, the CFPB employees voted to join the National Treasury Employees Union, the same union that is noted for representing the IRS employees as well. When considering all this, coupled with the total lack of accountability to the American people, I'm deeply concerned that the CFPB presents a substantial risk to the taxpayers. And as the Chief Financial Officer of the CFPB, I welcome our witness today and look forward to his testimony.